So I just want to start with a quick little review of how simple this thing is and how it works, and then dive into those questions. And one of them I got a lot was what we do with all the junk in the bottom of it once we empty it out. Today's perfect. It's quiet Sunday in the shop, so the tank has been sitting and settling all weekend, so we can have a nice little look into it and see really how simple it is. And then I'll show you what we do with all the junk that it catches and just explain and answer some of the questions that we got. So let's dive in. Okay, so I got us in nice and tight here because I want to show you something I absolutely love about this unit. First, obviously how simple the solids trap is, but I love that this whole Ryonet box is on wheels. It makes it super easy to pull it out, and that's what I'm going to do here. There we go. Right? So there we go. Now, this makes it really easy to take this whole bucket off and deal with it, empty it out. But the most important thing to note here is just how simple it is. Just a bucket with an outlet coming out at a high level here. So what that lets us do is all the solids sink to the bottom and get trapped in the bucket, and then the rest of the water just flows out into the rest of the filter system. Okay, so check out how simple this thing is. You can see the pipe extends a little bit down into the water, and that's just so that it doesn't suck in any of the floating stuff either. And then it just heads straight out the pipe and into the rest of our system here. And okay, before we move on, I just wanted to touch on this thing here. I got a couple questions about what this is. So the sump pump in this Ryonet filter does a little bit of splashing, and the problem we had is that it was splashing up onto the top of the sink and then dripping down the sides, and we had no clue where it was coming from. So once we found what the issue was, we cut this little white piece of plastic out, and you can see it just slides in there. It has cutouts for the hose and whatever. Super simple, but just keeps the water in the tank. Okay, so here's the next part of the process, and this is the part of the process I got the most questions about, which is what do you do with the sludge after you empty it out of the bucket? And the short story is we just let it harden and then we keep it in these buckets. Because in my 5 years that I've been running one of these things, I still haven't been able to fill a 5-gallon bucket with this sludge. And we've done thousands and thousands of screens, so I think we're going to be good for a while. But I did get a quote from a local disposal company, and it was insanely reasonable. So we've just been saving this stuff until it's a problem, and then we're going to call this company up and get it removed. And another thing we're saving is all the empty ink containers instead of wiping them out or send them to landfill. And the reason for that is we don't want to send uncured ink to landfill, and that's mostly what this is. There's lots of emulsion in here, but it's mostly uncured ink sludge. And we definitely don't want that going down the drain or going to landfill. So we're going to use a local company that specializes in picking up this kind of stuff, and I bet if you called your local company, you're going to get a totally reasonable quote just like I did. Way better than sending this stuff to landfill. So I'm just sitting in front of what is basically a fire exit in our building, and I put these buckets out there so that it can dry off without people wondering what it is, basically. Now, I don't find myself in this space very often, but when I do, we have a third bucket back there to empty the water off the top. Now, I don't think I've done this since I made the original video, and this thing dried out just fine. So I'm going to give you a closer look at what these things turn into. It's just a sludge puck, basically, but this one's all dried out. It's shrunk down a little bit, and it's ready to be transferred into the main bucket, I guess. So let me just do that and see how this goes. You see it in there? And there it is. You see, it's just a puck of sludge. I don't want to touch it without gloves on because it's kind of inky. But that's it. Just goes in like that. And this is the first time I've seen the bucket even close to full, but here it is, right? It's just a puck of crap that would have otherwise been lining the inside of our drains. Okay, something I wanted to touch on, a big reason why I started using this fire escape to keep these things in is because they used to stink. The first problem we ever had with this solids trap was the thing reeked. And I think the rule that solved it, super simple, we just instated a no beer rule for the sink. Like no human food. Mostly we were pouring beer down, I think, and rinsing cans in there with the hose, and it was making this stuff stink. And I'm sitting in front of it now. It doesn't smell like anything really. So that's a step in the right direction. And just a little tip for anyone with a filter system, just keep it to screen printing stuff, because as soon as you introduce beer, in our case, man, it was brutal. So avoid that at all costs. Alright, so we're at the last part of this little reclaim tour here, and it brings us to the back of the filter system. Now, a question I got was about these micron filters. The Ryonet system comes with a 75 micron filter and a 20 micron filter, and I got asked if we change that up or not, or if we're going any lower, and the answer is no so far. I'm just keeping it stock. Now, the micron level you need to go down to is largely going to be decided first by your local water requirements. Now, you don't want to just meet standards, you want to exceed them. Now, we passed our water test first try with just the solids trap hooked up, but when we got this new shop, we had a little more space, and so we wanted to add the rest of the filter system, and it's been great. The water coming out is a lot cleaner, and I'm thinking about going down to a lower micron. Some shops I've seen go as low as 5 for recirculating systems, and that's kind of the goal we're working towards, is to be able to use this water again for the reclaim process. So it's getting there, not quite, but we're still just going down to 20 microns. So all I wanted to say about these filters is that the smaller micron you're aiming to get down to, the more important this solids trap is going to be at the beginning. Because the more of this crap you catch at the beginning of the process, the less crap your filters have to catch. And then the less you're replacing them, less costs, less keeping them in stock and worrying about all those details. So that's it. Super simple setup, just some PVC in a bucket, and it probably catches the first 90% of crap going down the drain. And so in my opinion, it's a no-brainer to run one of these and just take the time to set it up. Something I heard commonly is, well, we haven't had a problem with ours, or well, we've had water inspections and it's fine, but just look at that puck of crap that I'm pulling out of here. Because if you're sending it to your municipal water treatment plant, that's funded by taxpayers just like you. And if you print mostly locally like we do, that means you're putting that burden on yourself and your neighbors who are your clients. So this is a super easy way to show your team and your customers that there's respect for the environment, that there's respect for the community you're in, and that there's accountability for it too. Because if we can show that we take care of the stuff going down the drain, even though it doesn't matter, even though we've never had a problem with it, it just shows that sort of excellence and lets it apply to everything we do. Because remember, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So it all starts with aiming for perfection instead of inspection, and being proactive instead of reactive. And you want to be able to answer your customers accurately and confidently when they ask you how much crap you're putting down the drain. We say as little as we can, because it's true. We're continuously working to put less and less crap down the drain, even though it has no positive return on investment. It's just a simple bit of respect for our community, a simple bit of respect for the old building we're in, and a simple bit of respect for our neighbors. So I'm done. I just want to thank y'all for watching, for tuning into this update video. Please check out the original video if you haven't. You gotta like, subscribe, and watch this channel for more, because we got more ideas like this coming all the time, and it's your liking and commenting and the discussions that we're having that really keeps me pushing forward to make more videos and share more ideas. So I'll see you in the YouTube comments, I'll see you in the Instagram DMs, but either way, I'll talk to you soon. So thanks again.